So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? It is I, Stone Stafford, and I am here with my homie
Johnny Vaughn.
Yeah, man, and we are here with L.I.F.E on podcast. This is where we L, listen, I, inspire, F, friends, E.
Everywhere.
Yeah, man, and today we're going to talk about, and the award goes to. All right, so this was your baby. It was an idea you brought up that actually I think it came out of your cranium, and I think I think it's a good topic because just like anything else, there's some behind the scenes stuff that people don't really know what goes down.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about award shows.
Yes.
And as you know, lately they've become very sticky. Right. A very sticky topic and conversation.
Yeah.
So what's up? So seriously, like, what's up with them? So we have some coming up, right? The Grammys are coming up.
Grammy noms are coming out. Shout out to all my homies who've been posting it for your consideration posts. I love y'all.
Yeah, I know, right? For your consideration. Now, for those, all right, so a behind the scenes thing. Whenever you see people posting things saying for your consideration, they have to do that because you can't pander for posts. You can't literally ask people, please vote for me.
Right.
So they'll just say for your consideration. So it's a tomato, read between the lines. You know, it's a hack, but that's what it is.
Mine's even bigger than that, though, because over the last decade or so, probably even longer than that, I personally have felt like the Teen Choice Awards have been the only award show that have stayed true to what awards are supposed to be, highlighting what's been the most pivotal and consequential art, whether it be film, television, or music, in the award show. Because if you don't know, I mean, obviously with the Oscars and the Grammys...
Sorry, y'all.
That gnat, man. I feel bad.
But I think
for
I
him.
got him this time.
Man, you didn't kill that gnat for like 4 episodes.
I can't believe you can't. Do you see it? You see it?
I don't. Oh, I do see that.
You see it, and see how he's never over there. He's always here, and then he goes like here.
Somebody needs to take a shower.
Someone is prodded up after some Dove. Thank you.
I'm just
but go
saying,
ahead.
bro.
That started to sound
The
real
gnat's not over
sissified.
here. The gnat's over there.
Go ahead.
But what we've been seeing over these last few years is more and more of your top tier artists who are putting out top tier quality music and television and film have been getting snubbed more and more and more. One of the big ones that I will never forget is when Nicki Minaj did not get that Artist of the Year award when she had.
Who got it? I can't remember.
Was that that wasn't the Macklemore year, was it? No. That was Lorde. Was that what it was?
Lord.
It was wrong because Nicki had 8 records in the top 10, I think, at the time, and it was just like nothing. 50 Cent had it. Like 50's got an interview out where he was like, you know, you got to have a double album and die to go diamond, and he got none of the awards because he felt like the Academy and everyone did not want to recognize 50 because then the kids would recognize 50. And then after that, you started seeing the wave and waves of art. Eminem started to boycott the Grammys. I believe B&J boycotted the Grammys for a minute. Kanye, I'm gonna mention it because he did it too when Frank Ocean's situation happened, and Frank Ocean boycotted it. The Weeknd, I don't think is ever going back. Like, you've got all these artists who put out great art who've decided not to. Wait a minute, I don't want to mess this one up. The most recent one, and this is my favorite one right here, is Silk Sonic. When Lead the Door Open came out last year and they won last year, you just knew. Now, they missed the window for the album to be eligible for this year. But you just knew that when Silk Sonic dropped their album, they were going to rack up the Grammys at the next one. And I'm going to read this quote. This is from Bruno Mars himself. "We truly put our all on this record, but Silk Sonic would like to gracefully, humbly, and most importantly, sexually bow out of submitting our album this year."
How do you sexually bow out?
I
know how you can sexually bow.
We hope we can celebrate with everyone on a great year of music and partake in the party. Thank you for letting Silk Sonic thrive. Why would Silk Sonic be pulling what was probably one of the top 3 best records of this year out of consideration? And I think the award shows have done such a disservice to their respective industries that the artists are starting to realize that they don't matter. And Drake even said it. Drake says, "I don't feel like the Grammys matter." Quavo says, "It's time for us to get new founders." And I was like, I don't know what he mean by that. He's like, "We need to start our own award show." I was like, "We got one. We got the BT Awards." But I mean, he was targeting the Grammys when he said that. And he was like, "We need new people who are more in touch with what's happening right now."
Right.
So that the art is being recognized for being what it is, the best art, and not so much the red tape, bureaucratic voting thing that it has become.
So the Grammy, so there's a ton of people who disagree with some of the art and some of the artists and projects that have won the Grammys.
Absolutely.
And now I'm gonna be a Johnny, put on my Johnny shoes for a second here. Is that you don't feel some of that is just quote unquote best, like whoever's the best, you don't feel that's subjective? Because this is actually supposed to be a voting thing.
It is. I think it's more of a cliquish thing. I'm starting to feel it's more of a cliquish thing because you've seen it. When you see them read those nominations, you're like, oh man, you know who's about to win. And then it goes to somebody else. You're like, what the hell did they put out?
Right.
What was it?
Right.
I made a statement. I went and saw Woman King. If you have not seen that, go see
Good
Woman
movie.
King.
Good movie.
Viola Davis did what Viola Davis always does. She became the character. She sucked you into it. She made everyone around her better. Not that she didn't already have rock star actresses and actors that were in that film, but that movie was elevated heavily because of her performance.
Yep.
If she doesn't win everything next award season, nobody's going to be respecting any of that stuff anymore because of how pivotal that performance was.
Now let's think of what else is out that could rival that though.
I don't even care. It don't matter.
Like what about Till? Like I haven't seen Till yet, but like who knows what Till's going to be like? Like what if Till turns out to be a powerful one?
It can be. I'm biased against children leads, but that's a whole nother conversation.
But even if it's the children, even if it's the mom or whatever, it can be any actor. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you can feel it when a record comes out.
Well, I guess we realize this episode needs to come out before Till.
We need to drop this quick. When you get to a point where when you listen to something all the way through and there are no skips, and then you play the whole thing back, or you watch a film and you immediately know I need to go back and see that again because one, I either missed something, or two, emotionally it put me in a place where I need clarity. Like you can feel when something has a wave.
Dumb and Dumber.
This guy is
Dumb and Dumber.
killing me. Did that do that to you? Did it really make you? It changed your life that much? You felt like you had some representation on the silver screen. Is that what it was?
I became Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my God!
I became Jim Carrey. Changed my life. But anyway,
I'm not
go
gonna
ahead.
do this. So the whole thing about the awards thing is whether or not it's still a viable measuring stick for what great art is, or what the best art is, or who the best artists are. And is it even necessary at this point? Like, what's the purpose of us doing it if the artists who are participating in it are losing respect for each one of them?
Right.
I think that because even when I was first coming up as a producer, when I first started, my goal was to win my first independent Grammy, like with just my name on it as a producer and a songwriter. And I have no idea why that was the goal. I don't know why.
I mean, well, that's because the industry said so.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's where I'm getting at. Like, does it even matter now at this point? Do we need to take away from these little golden statues, these trophies, these ornaments that, like, do they still carry the same weight as they did when Michael was holding 20 of them?
Well, it kind of depends on what you look at, because a song still has to achieve certain metrics and certain levels of success to still even be nominated. So it's not like anyone and his mama can be nominated for a Grammy. Like, even though the final decision might seem sketchy, to even be in the running though, you still had to have done something pretty fantabulous.
Right. You know
but that's what the Grammy says. So when you hold up that golden guy, he's like, hey, let's meet the golden guy. That's the Oscar. I mean, the megaphone or the stereophone, whatever you call it, the phonograph thing, the phonograph. It says this song that I was a part of is in the top 1% of all the songs that are in the marketplace right now, and did something that a lot of songs didn't do. That's really all it says.
I call it BS, and the reason why I say that is because you have to hit certain metrics to make it to the NBA. You have to hit certain metrics to make it to the NFL. You got to hit certain metrics to get to the 1% of the elite of the elite. But just because you play for the Browns or the Jets does not make you a Super Bowl contender.
It doesn't. But let me ask you a question. Would you, and our listeners too, would you rather say, hey, we have Campbell High School star, James Curtis coming, or would you say, hey, we have NFL running back, even if he's third string, we have NFL running back for the New England Patriots, blah, 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 coming on. Which one's going to maybe like, oh, I might need to check that one out? You see what I'm saying? Which one's going to be, if he had an opportunity for someone and this person did it on a high school level, this person did it on the NFL level, just to say NFL alone. buys you that credibility. That's what the Grammy does.
So, and this is the thing. This is the problem that I've started to have with it. Why I'm saying that does it even matter at this point? Because just to say that you were an NFL player doesn't mean much. I know a bunch of people who played in the NFL 1 year.
But I have a problem with that
I know
statement.
I got a lot of friends who were Grammy nominated.
Yeah, but I got a big problem with that statement because you're saying that you're like, oh, he's just in the NFL for 1 year. Stop it at he was just in the NFL. Period.
No, we're not stopping at that.
But the reason why, this is what I'm saying. Just to say
Stop
you
grading
made
on a curve, Stone.
I'm not grading on a curve. So here's this is where I wish we had a boy Stevie here. You mean to tell me just to say a person made it on an NFL team, that statement alone tells you something about his CV without you even seeing his CV.
You're taking it out of context for what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because what some NFL players will tell you, there are a lot of people who make it to the league because of the connections and contacts. They have no business being there. But uncle, auntie, dad, somebody had to play. What I'm saying
That
is...
was a bad example.
No,
because
it's
that
not.
doesn't happen with the NFL.
Yes, the hell it does.
Let me tell you something right now. You do not get on that team. And you know me, I'm the biggest proponent about relationships. You do not get on an NFL team solely.
All right.
Solely. Name one player. Okay. Name one player. Well, not that you would know, I guess, but you mean to tell me
I'm not finna say no names because I do. I'm not finna do it.
And he has no talent.
No. None.
Are you saying no talent, no NFL
Should
talent,
not be
or
at
no
that
talent?
level. Should not be at that level. Absolutely not. But because someone knew someone, they got them there. That
Does
happens.
he play?
Not anymore.
I mean, did he play?
He got into games.
Yeah. See, that's the reason why I have a hard time believing that.
When we turn the cameras off, I'll tell you exactly what
The
it was.
reason why I have a hard time believing that is because, like my boy T said, he said, let me tell you something about the NFL. He said, if you do not consistently perform at a high level, you're out.
It might have been that way at one point, but it's not like that now.
Okay.
I was very close to 2 franchises while I was working in sports broadcasting. You hear stuff at these lunches and these dinners. You hear these phone calls and these conversations. And yes, there are people who got there because of something else. What I'm pointing out, though, we're talking about winning Grammys. These are supposed to be the elite of the elite. What this is supposed to represent.
Well, so I split that up into 2 parts then.
I'm not doing
because one hand we're talking about winning Grammys, but you made a comment. You said, "Do the awards even matter anymore?"
That's what I'm saying.
But that's where I was saying they do.
If the winners dilute what the greatest content is it representation of what's the best?
Right, and I agree. But my thing is, how much diluting can you do to where the Grammy literally doesn't matter?
Man, you leave it to Drake and Quavo. They say it and I already
because
happened.
The worst NFL player is still oftentimes better than the best college player. Not always, but more often than not. The worst NFL player is still better than the best college player. So there is still a level. So if this song that we're supposed to do for our listeners right now, right?
Will you quit bringing this up?
Oh, we bring it up because I'm holding you to it.
I might flake.
No, there's no way in the world. We got your word. Now that means you're not a man of your word. So if we were doing this song and one of our listeners said, hey, you know, my cousin wants to, produce it with y'all. And then another listener like, yeah, but my brother, he's a producer too. Can he work with y'all? And we're like, yeah, there's some reason you're like, no, this will be fun. Let's do it. I was like, all right, well, what have they done? And then the brother, he's an up-and-coming producer. He did an independent project. He's dope. But then this person, and we haven't heard it. And then this person's like, oh, he was nominated for 3 Grammys for the records that he produced on blah, 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 blah. We never heard of the artist, right? But he was nominated for 3 Grammys. In all honesty, there is not a bone in your body that would even be like, I wonder what he got nominated for the Grammys for.
And then this is why I hate when you put me on the spot when you ask these questions, because you know I'm not that person.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to assume.
That's
what everyone always accuses me of doing.
Somebody comes to me and says,
I'm not
3-time
doing
Grammy. I don't care. Like that doesn't move me at all. Like I'm literally the one that says, "What have you done? Let me hear something first." That's the first.
Right.
I don't care who it is.
For sure.
Because in my world, I work with people who award winners all the time, and they suck.
Now, this would never have. No, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I'm real big on if I'm gonna attach my name to anything. There's a lot of. I'm not a Kanye West fan. I don't see the genius. I never have.
You and I are in the same boat.
My favorite producers think Kanye's a genius, and it blows my freaking mind because I worship them, and they think he's and I'm just like, you are literally a genius. I can't comprehend it. So I've learned to detach myself from that. So no, 3-time Grammy Award winning, or my cousin who's worked on some stuff.
See, but that's what I'm saying. See, the
Grammys,
you still can't get rid of the fans in the Grammys. You can't say the fans play no role in that. In order for you to reach whatever metrics you needed to reach, accomplishments that song needed to accomplish to even be considered for the Grammy, the fans had to play a role.
But you made a statement.
Consumers had to play a role.
You're absolutely right. But you made a statement before the button went red, and you said it's a lot like the Electoral College. And I hate that system. And you're absolutely right about that. Because once the fans elevate you high enough to do that, then you have this very small group of people that take it over from there, and they decide who it is based off of whatever.
But that's why I was clear and why I
contest
said
they
I was
wanna put
dividing
into.
this into two parts, because I'm still stuck on the phrase of the Grammys just don't matter anymore. And here's my thing. For what the Grammys are supposed to represent,
That's what I'm talking about.
I agree with you. But to say they don't matter anymore just across the board, I still feel that statute still says, without saying it, this person had to do something extraordinary for me to have me in his or her hand. That's all that statute says.
I think we can point to a year where that cliff started to fall over, where it was, and then it started to not be.
And as soon as mumble rap started getting nominated,
and then
I was out of the door.
That's what that's part of the era that I'm talking about. But there's still some really great content that's being produced and that's coming out. But the artists who like I said, you can see when they're reading the nominees, you're like, I heard all of these. That's finna sweep all of these categories, and then it doesn't.
Right.
I can't speak for Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. But if I were them, because I saw that show twice, I know the album inside and out. They know there's nothing that has come out that can beat them this year. But I bet you
that we've heard of.
That's nominated.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, and just shout out to all the undercovers, unknown, undiscovered.
But that's not what we're talking about. I'm
just doing a respectful shout out.
Absolutely.
I'm just taking a moment, like moment silence type of thing. There's some of y'all. Yeah, there's
Like
some of y'all out there. Yeah, there's some of y'all out there that got some. There's some of y'all that got some unknown and unheard masterpieces.
It's some dope.
And I know
gems out
you
there,
think it is, but I'm just saying objectively.
No, sure. But I would be willing to bet. I mean, and again, I don't know them personally, but I mean, from what you get from the personalities in interviews, they know that shit. They know it. They know what they put out was dope. They know nothing can touch what they did. They know they put the best. Usher show might be as good as the show they did.
You want to know one of the main ways you can tell that they know it is and legitimate that it is their ability to walk away.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's how you
but
know
I
that you know.
I also think that it's a thing that they know that if they submit every category it's nominated in, it should sweep everything.
Now, for those,
I think they also know that it won't, and I believe that's the problem that's coming in. It's gotten to the point that the people who know, I've given you the best thing you've heard in 2 years, and I'm not gonna sweep, so I'm not gonna let you do that to me. Right. And I think that's where I'm saying that it's starting to not matter because.
Now, question: do you think? Now, this kind of brings up the question is that obviously they feel that the Grammys must mean something in order to not be on the Grammys. Because how does being on the Grammys hurt, whether you sweep or not? How does it hurt? Because there's been plenty of music that I've discovered.
I like how you're looking at it, and that's the Stone
from the
positive,
Grammy Award.
Because
there's two sides to every coin.
I know, but that's not the thing. Eminem stopped going to the Grammys because it did nothing for his career. After they dissed him that second time, he didn't need the Grammys.
No, I agree. There's a point where it won't.
Him.
No, I agree when there's a point where it won't. Don't get me wrong, but that's
Bruno
still
Mars, Anderson .Paak, Silk Sonic does not need.
Well,
the
for
Grammys.
them, yeah, I agree with them. For them, I guess so. So it's kind of a moot point.
That's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like I said, that caliber of that, nothing is better than that. That's nominated. It should sweep.
Right.
It'll get there and it won't. And they both know that's going to happen, and it's going to piss them off.
So you guys heard us mention something about the whole electoral college thing. So the reason why the Grammys are similar to the political or the presidential elections is they use a very similar system. So you have your popular vote, right? So, but in the music industry, it's not the public who votes. The public, quote unquote, votes by buys and downloads. So that's all the data that can allow a song to even be nominated. Okay, so that's where the public comes into play. But other nominations also come from voting members of the Academy. So you have to have a song that's in the marketplace, I believe, in order to be a voting member. All right. So already you went from hundreds of millions of people down to several thousands, right? So if you are a voting member of the Academy, then you get to submit who you feel should be nominated or should win the Grammy. Okay, that's kind of the public part of it all. But once those nominations are in, there is then a board of voters who decide, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's almost like the electoral college in politics. So yeah, we all get out there as citizens and vote, but then once we do, then the electoral college takes the top ones of those and then they vote. So this is why you hear the people arguing saying the popular vote doesn't count, popular vote doesn't matter. It's kind of yes it does and no it doesn't. It does matter because it totally dictates who gets to the electoral college. So that's where the popular vote does matter. But where the popular vote doesn't matter is then you got the knuckleheads in the electoral college who end up kind of picking and choosing who they want based off of what agenda needs to be met and all this kind of stuff, the stuff they don't tell you on the news. So that's kind of how all that works. And unfortunately, the Grammy is kind of the same. But so you can see in the system like that how politics and different things can play a role. I'm not saying that they do, but I'm not dumb. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I don't want to have the conversation without being fully transparent with what's happening. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the review committee is supposed to be disbanded. I don't know what year that's supposed to happen, but the voters are supposed to get the final say at some point.
That'd be sweet.
I do not think it's happening like in the next couple of years.
Right. That would be sweet.
And again, that's from a bunch of the outrage of artists just saying, "Yo, this is like it can't be us saying this is what we want, and then this committee dictates what happens after that."
Right.
I have to Google and find out what year that's supposed to be happening, but that's on the horizon. Until then, though, I think you're gonna see more and more of your top tier artists who know who they are, who know what they're providing to the marketplace, step back and let the circus do what it does with its monkeys. And then once the people can fully decide, once it really is, judged by your peers, they'll be back. That's what I think is going to happen. But until then, until it's not in the committee's hand, I don't think we can trust it as a
reliable.
That's the word I was going to say. For lack of a better term, I'll say reliable. And yeah, because I feel like there's more politics involved with who gets what than it being true to what the art forms are. So
if you guys want to now that you understand how that works, for those of you who might not have, plenty of you who listen and watch us, do. But for those who didn't know until now that you understand how that whole process works, you can follow it. So you'll see the quote unquote popular votes if you go to Grammy.com on November 15th. That's when they release the nominees. The nominees, again, are all the people who are registered voters with the Grammys or with the Academy. Like, you have to be a member of the Academy. The only way you can be a member of the Academy and a voting member, is if you have something in the marketplace. So all the voting members, because we got ballots and stuff in the mail, I want to say last month or a couple weeks ago. But you send those ballots in, okay? So, and whoever wins, whoever's gotten the most nomination stuff, they'll be on the nominee list. That nominee list gets released November 15th. All right, and you can see it on Grammy.com and some other websites. And then on February 5th, that's when we have the Grammys. That's when we know who wins. And you can look at the nominee list and be like, oh, I agree. And then you'll see the show, and you're going to be like, what happened? Right? What? And you'll see what it is that we're talking about. And then you can feel free to hop on our YouTube channel or go on lifeonpodcast.com and let us know if you agree with what went down and if you didn't. And raise a stank.
Like I just did. Yeah. This is really just me griping.
It really is. We just try to turn it into a viable show.
Johnny just needed to let out some steam.
This was Johnny's black couch today, you guys. All y'all are doctors today.
I don't know. Kip told us that we were so entertaining. He been real quiet. I ain't seen no head nods. He looked like he was bored on this one.
He's intense. I got you. All right. So as always, man, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. I'll say that every time because it's so true. And we just thank you because you are already here and you are a part of getting us to the ourselves 1 million subscribers in 2023. As always, you can find everything that's dealing with Life on Podcast at lifeonpodcast.com. All right, you go to our YouTube channel, Spotify, whatever it is you want to do. You can listen and stream the last 10 episodes there. So whatever it is you want to do. If you want to check me out, I now have one place you can go. It is Stone Stafford. I guess I can stop saying I now have. Right? You can just go to Stone Stafford. Shut up. You can go to stonestafford.com, and from there you can go to my Instagram, you can go to my Twitter, you can go to my LinkedIn, all that wonderful stuff.
I'm lowly. I'm just on social media. Just Johnny Vaughn, JustJonnyVan on all your favorite social media platforms. I got somebody hit me up and was asking about Talk Tuesday.
Talk?
I call it Talk. That's me and my son back and forth. He calls it Tick. I call it Talk. It's TikTok Tuesday. If you follow me, you know I do the TikTok dances.
It's camera two.
Camera two.
It's very hard to watch.
What?
It is highly uncomfortable to watch.
That's hate because he can't dance. That's what it is. Like Stone can't move.
No, it's difficult.
Okay.
It is difficult. So what you need to do,
get your opinion on
you need
this.
to run to the liquor store, get yourself a few cans of Post Meridium. All right, this was not a paid sponsorship, but that's Andrew's my boy. Get a couple cans of Post Meridium. They pack a punch. Get yourself real nice. Then watch his Talks.
And then do a Talk with me. They will be back, man. My knees hurt though. That's honest what it was. Somebody I had two people like, "Yo, where they been at?" And I've missed like 3 or 4 Tuesdays. My body hurt, man. I'm over 30.
That's that age. That's
well
that age.
Over 30.
Yo, as always, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're out of here. Peace.
So back to what I was saying.